Hey there, I'm Tehseen Khan, your course teacher for the course Business Communication Using Computers. I'm back again with yet another PPT on practical number 15, communication barriers and ways to overcome. Let's get started, students. Meaning and types of communication barriers. Let's first understand what are barriers. Barriers are disturbances or difficulties which arise in the process of communication. They affect free flow of smooth communication. And these barriers in turn make communication ineffective and meaningless. So the various problems we face during any sort of communication are nothing but the barriers. Now there are a few definitions by experts. According to Dr. Suraj Kumar Debnath, barriers to communication mean obstacles to the process of communication. Meaning, barriers to communication are problems to the process of communication. According to C.B. Memoria, communication, when it is impeded and doesn't reach the receiver, is often somewhat ineffective, and the impediments are known as barriers. So the another term for barriers are impediments. So when sender has something to say which doesn't reach out to receivers in the same manner sender wishes to convey, that is nothing but a barrier to effective communication. There are a few types of communication barriers, and we will be considering only the four major types of communication barriers according to our MSBT syllabus of BCC, and those are physical barriers, mechanical barriers, psychological barriers, and language or linguistic barriers. Let's see what's mechanical barrier. It occurs as a result of defect in the mechanical device or some technical fault or problem. I can say that mechanical barriers mainly occur due to problem in the machine. It can be also the inability of the sender to handle the machine sometimes that also causes the problem. Machine is there, but I do not know how to operate that during communication can also act as a mechanical barrier. It basically occurs due to defects in machine. So it is those machines which are referred here which we use during communication and not any other machine. Mind it well, students. So the machine, the system we will be using during communication, if there is any problem in that machine during communication, then that is nothing but a mechanical barrier. And it's not always in sender's control. Sometimes the sender may repair the machine, can have the B plan ready, and there is hardly a problem in communication for a while, for a minute. But suppose if it's not in the control of sender, then that becomes a major problem or a barrier, and communication can be postponed in that situation. Let's see examples of mechanical barriers. It can be faulty instruments, faulty loudspeaker, if any speaker is delivering a speech, sharing his or her ideas, or loudspeaker. It can be a defective fax machine, where the message you wish to convey via fax machine is not able to reach out to the receivers owing to a defective fax machine. Congestion in dial network. Sometimes it happens that we face network issue while communicating over phone, and that is nothing but a mechanical barrier. Then it can again be a spread of ink on paper or newspaper. Sometimes we get to we see that on newspaper there is black spots and words are not able to be seen and read by the readers, and that is again an example of mechanical barriers when there is a faulty printing machine. Now the next communication barrier which we will be taking into consideration here is physical barriers. Let's just see first its meaning. It occurs due to environmental elements or personal disability. So there are two elements, two factors, which are or which rather contribute to physical barriers, and those are environmental elements or personal disabilities. There are two types of physical barriers, that is environmental barriers and personal or biological barriers. Let's just see what are those. So the first one we have under types of physical barriers is environmental barriers. This sort of barriers occur due to time, distance, noise, space and surrounding. Examples: noise outside classroom disturbs the class and creates obstruction in effective two-way communication. Of course, when there is so much of noise, undesirable sound outside the classroom, it becomes difficult for teacher to have effective one-to-one communication, and that disrupts the whole smooth flow of effective communication. Second example I have for you is late birthday wish to your friend doesn't create effectiveness in communication. So, on the very day of birthday, if you wish, it has a different kind of significance. And if you happen to be late, then, that has again a different sort of impact on communication. It can be extreme weather condition, that is too hot or too cold. That may sometimes create a problem in communication. Receivers and sender both may find it difficult to concentrate in communication. At times, natural calamities like flood, earthquake and drought may hinder smooth flow of communication. Now, the second element of physical barriers is personal or biological barriers. Let's just see what all fall under it. So, personal disabilities like stammering, stuttering, deafness, spastic, when you don't have firm limb and it becomes difficult for you to write, you are a slow, writer. Ill health, sometimes you are feeling either under the weather or any sort of stress you have that has any repercussion on your health. And bad handwriting, these are some of the issues which are labeled as personal or biological barriers, and that too create difficulties in smooth flow of communication, and is therefore known as personal or biological barriers. People are born with that stammering, stuttering. So people, those who have stammering and stuttering problem, becomes difficult for them to have face-to-face communication. It can be, delivering presentation, because others sometimes may mock at them and they are not well appreciated and reciprocated by the audience. So that is there under personal barriers. The example of personal barriers: a student cannot concentrate well in class if she is not feeling well. An individual with stammering and stuttering problem may feel hesitated to participate in elocution, speech competition, face-to-face paper presentation, and so many other things. So students, that was all for explanation on practical number 15, communication barriers and ways to overcome them. I hope you all have understood it well. I'll be back with another presentation in continuation with another two barriers and ways to overcome them. Till then, stay safe, stay home and stay healthy. Goodbye everyone.